God Indra is said to be the king of Devas residing in the Indra Loka, which is situated in the midst of the clouds. But do any of us know who this Indra really is? What is his origin and history? Why is he shown residing among the clouds? Most of us don't know the answers to these common questions. All the gods of Hinduism except Brahma were actually born as humans and attained godhood through their penance. That is, Shiva, Muruga, Indra, Krishna, Vishnu, the top gods of Hinduism, were born as humans and attained godhood. All these gods were actually the gods of Asivagam, the most ancient religion of India and Sri Lanka. Starting from 3rd century AD, the Jewish Brahmins of India destroyed the remaining Asivagam religion of the South India through violent means and looted its gods and created a new religion called Hinduism around 8th century AD. These Jewish Brahmins had already destroyed Buddhism during the 1st century BC in North India, which again had originated out of Asivagam itself around 6th century BC. When they looted the gods of Asivagam and made them as the gods of Hinduism, they changed the real history of these human gods and made them as mythical gods. In the Lemurian continent known as Kumari Kandam, Shiva lived on Meru mountain and attained nirvana to become the first god of humanity. After the destruction of Kumari Kandam about 11,000 years ago, he was worshipped in temple situated on the eastmost edge of the Trincomalee Mount, which was then translocated to Tibetan Mount, and that mount was named Kailash inappropriately. Murugan, who lived several thousand years after Shiva at the times of the deluge, was rechristened as a son of Shiva in Hinduism, creating fake mythologies. Vishnu actually studied the sky called Milky Ocean lying on the moonstone. This moonstone was metaphorized as 5-headed snake by ancient Tamils with reason. This Vishnu was made to lie on a snake bed in the watery ocean by the Jewish Brahmins in order to destroy his original history. Likewise, the true history of Indra was also changed and he was also made a mythical god. Hence, he too should have been a human god. Here, we have to take note of another important fact. Though the histories of gods like Shiva, Muruga and Vishnu were changed, they are still being worshipped in temples. But God Indra is not being worshipped in temples of India. Why is this exception only for Indra? Only after the deluge cataclysm that image worship and temple worship started. The original history of the gods, which were passed on through word of mouth till then, were preserved through appropriate imageries following the deluge by Murugan, who survived the deluge. For example, it was Shiva who first proposed that this universe originated following the explosion of supernova, and that is portrayed by the fire on the drum in the hands of Nataraja, the Shiva, and his notion that all the celestial objects are in constant and ceaseless motion is portrayed by the perpetual dancing posture of Nataraja. This image was created by Murugan 11,000 years ago to preserve the history of Shiva. All the attributes of Shiva are preserved through many such imageries, and it is beyond the scope of this video to dwell deep into this realm. Likewise, all the imageries of all the Hindu gods retain the history of each of their respective god, and this fact has to be acknowledged by the West, who are under the notion that it is idiotic to worship images. Returning to the topic, almost all the temples built during the past 1200 years were built with suggestions from Jewish Brahmins and the fake stories of Hinduism that they spun. That being the case, why these Jewish Brahmins discouraged building temples for Indra alone? In fact, 2000 years ago, the annual Indra festival was celebrated for one whole month, starting from the full moon of the first month of Tamil calendar till the full moon of the second month. There are many literatures like Silappatikaram which stand as testimony for this fact. Even the famous Ellora cave temple, carved during 5th century, has Indra Sabha. If such a popular god Indra goes unrecognized, there should be some definite reason behind this. Even in the epic Ramayana, Indra is said to have helped Rama in a number of ways. To prevent the hunger of abducted Sita, who refused to take food from Ravana, Indra visits Asokavana, where Sita is imprisoned by Ravana and gives her Pavitra Payasam to permanently solve her hunger. Moreover, as Rama did not have a chariot, Indra provides his celestial chariot to Rama along with its charioteer Matali to fight Indrajit. Thus, despite the fact that Indra helped Rama in Ramayanam war, if the Jewish Brahmins prevented Indra worship, then there should be a deep-rooted conspiracy behind this. Not only that they prevented Indra worship, they also depicted Indra in a humiliating manner. They portrayed God Indra as lustful and drunkard and having female sex organs all over his body due to a curse that Gautama Rishi slapped on him. Thus, they say that Indra helped Rama, and in the same epic, they also denigrate Indra very badly. There should be a deep-rooted conspiracy behind this mystery. What is that conspiracy? In the Ramayana epic, the other character that comes in the name of Indra is Indrajit. They say that Indrajit, the son of Ravana, fought and won Indra, the celestial god, and hence he was awarded the title Indrajit, which is said to have deformed to Indrajit. This simply doesn't make any sense. If Indra won any war, he should have been awarded the title Indrajit, meaning the victory of Indra. But if Indra was defeated by someone, the winner would then be given titles like Victor of Indra, which makes sense and definitely not as Indra's victory, the alleged meaning of Indrajit. Hence, the title name Indrajit did not evolve this way. That means the story that Indrajit fought with Indra is also fake. Moreover, how can a mortal like Indrajit shall win over the celestial god Indra, who was actually the king of Devas? It's beyond one's wildest imaginations. Only the Jewish Brahmins shall spin stories like this. Hence, we have to investigate the origin of the title names of both Indra, the god, and Indrajit, the human. Behind every title name, there should be a reason. To discover the reason for the title name Indra, we should take note of the attributes of Indra one by one. In the capital city called Amaravati of heaven, Indra lives as the head of all Devas. The people who attained Nirvana, the eternal bliss, by winning over the five sensory perceptions are the ones who reside in the heaven. Those who attained Nirvana by winning over the five senses would appear naked as they fail to sense that their clothing is falling off. Ammanam is a Tamil word for nakedness. It is this word, Ammanam, that gave rise to the word Amana, referring to the people who attained Nirvana. It is this word Amana, referring to the attainment of Nirvana, which gave rise to the word Amara. As these sages meditated in sitting position, and as they attained Nirvana in the same sitting posture, and as they also buried alive as Jiva Samadhi in the same sitting position, they are not only called Amara, but the word Amar also meant to sit in Tamil. Thus, we have understood how the word Amara, referring to the attainment of moksha state, had evolved. The Tamil word Vadi means to reside. Hence, Amara plus Vadi, Amaravadi, is the name of the place where Amaras live. It is this place, Amaravadi, that Indra governs as their leader. It is obvious from these facts that Indra was a human god like others mentioned before. Accordingly, Shiva was the first person to have attained the Amara status. But the word Amara wasn't known in the times of Shiva, and the equivalent word was called Karupu, meaning black. As the people who attained moksha were considered to be residing in the black space after their nirvana, they were called Karupu, meaning black. In fact, Shiva is said to live in the black space as Orion constellation. The celestial abode that these Karupu people lived was called Shivaloka after Shiva. This Shivaloka was renamed after the times of Murugan as Devaloka. Murugan, who torched the forest for agriculture, was called Deva in the name of fire. It is he who is also known as Agni Deva. Murugan raised Kundalini and won over the five senses to claim his rightful place in Shivaloka, and he is remembered as Pleiades, that is, Kritika constellation there. Hence, after the times of Murugan, this Shivaloka was called as Devaloka after Muruga Deva. Thus, the people who attained Nirvana were called Karupu after the times of Shiva, and Deva after the times of Muruga, and Amara after the times of Indra. As Muruga, the Deva, was also a king, the name Deva also meant king. Hence, Indra, said to be the king of Devaloka, was called Deva Indra, that is Devendra. We shall now see why Indra is linked to Soma drink. Raising Kundalini is otherwise meant as secreting the DMT called as Amruta in the pineal gland. The concoctions prepared using herbals like cannabis, called in South American language as ayahuasca, help secrete DMT. Indra seems to have been the first person to have prepared such drinks to reach the higher realms of Kundalini. That's why he is alone connected with the Soma drink. It is said that a snake called Vritra retained water, creating famine, and Indra is said to have killed that snake to release the water. So far, no one had advanced an explanation for this historical anecdote. For the first time, I am going to reveal the meaning of this anecdote. That apart, I would also conclude that Indra belonged to ancient Lanka based on this anecdote. As Indrajit was the son of Ravana, he is a mountain man. Murugan was the first ground king. That's why he was called a dragon and was worshipped in the form of a snake by the Chinese, just like the Yasiddhi worshipping him as peacock. Kindly watch the video titled Earth-Shaking Facts on the True Identity of the Dragon. Thus, Murugan was connected with the ground and snake. Kindly remember this fact. The mountain people of Lanka opposed Murugan's idea of burning the forest for agriculture. Murugan had to fight a war with them to have his way. However, long after the times of Murugan, the mountain people won over the ground people. That's how the Yakshas, Kubera and Ravana became the kings of ancient Lanka. Hence, it is obvious and natural that the ground people and the mountain people were having constant rivalries. Leaving this fact aside, we have seen that dryland agriculture was initiated by Murugan. But the descendants of Murugan, as the next development in agriculture, invented rice cultivating technology. As rice cultivation needs constant supply of water, they built a dam across the river which originates in the mountains of Lanka and drains in the sea. It is a possible scenario. Later, when war broke out between the mountain people and the ground people, as part of the war maneuver, the mountain people could have broken the dam built by the ground people. This is also a possible scenario. Based on these basic ideas, we shall consider the destruction of Vritra snake by Indra and the subsequent release of water it contained. Virinda plus Tarai, Viri Tarai, Vritra. The word Tarai would deform as Thra through the tongue of the Jews. Virinda means vast expanse of and Tarai means ground. Hence, Vritra means a large ground region, and that's the exact and infallible etymology of Vritra. As this vast ground region being described as a snake, it points to Murugan, as snake is one of the identities of Murugan, he being called as the dragon, the snake. Hence, the dam was built by Murugan, the Vritra, which should have been broken by the mountain people of Lanka. As the person who destroyed the dam was Indra, the mountain man, and if we consider that Indra and Indrajit were one and the same, then this breakage should have happened during Ramayana war. We would soon prove that Indra and Indrajit actually points to the same personality. Even though Vritra refers to Murugan, it actually points to the people of Murugan, as Murugan did not live in the times of Ramayana and only the people who worshipped Muruga lived. It is those people of Vritra who cultivated paddy crop and built the dam. Hence, Indra had actually fought with the people of Vritra. He destroyed the dam built by these people only. This destruction of the dam happened during Ramayana war only, not before that. Why? Ravana took over the administration of Lanka from Kubera, the mountain man, and not from the ground people. Hence, the authority over the entire Lanka was owned either by Kubera or his forefathers only, and it did not happen during Ramayana. Hence, before Ramayana, Indrajit did not have a reason to fight with the ground people. Hence, the breakage of the dam should have happened during Ramayana war and not before that. The Jewish Raman utilized the rivalry between the mountain people and the ground people and used it to devise the warring factions of Ramayana war. The Jewish Raman separated Vibhishana from his brother Ravana by clever coaxing and joined him with the ground people and set them against Ravana's team. It's like the Indian Ramas of today who separated Karuna from the tigers and joined him with the Sinhalese so as to learn the military secrets of tigers and win over them. Already, Vali, the loyal regional king under the emperor Ravana, was killed by Rama from behind, and Sugrivan was anointed as the king in his place, and hence Rama had the support of Sugrivan. That means Ramayana war was a huge and intensive conflict. It is as part of this intensive conflict that Indrajit should have destroyed the dam of the ground people. Hence, Vritra, which originally meant Murugan, should have actually referred to his people, and Indra should have broken the dam that these people built. Hence, under the hypothesis that Indra and Indrajit were one and the same, Indra should have been a Lankan. Next, Indra is known as rain god. His weapon was Vajra, the thunderbolt. He is also known as Meghavagana, meaning the rider of the clouds. Murugan was a Deva, Shiva was a Deva, and Vishnu was also a Deva. But why Indra alone is connected to the clouds? We have already established that Indra was a human god based on Amaravati, the residential city of god Indra. Then, decoding the Vritra's anecdote, we surmised that Indra was nothing but Indrajit of Lanka. Yes, Indra the god and Indrajit the human were one and the same person. That's because Ravana's son Indrajit was called Meghanada, whereas Indra was known as Meghavagana. Both are connected to the cloud called as Megham in Tamil, and both the names have the common part Indra. Such multiple similarities could not have been due to mere coincidence. Hence, they are one and the same personality. We shall now investigate the connection of clouds with Indrajit. We know that Indra raised the higher realms of Kundalini using Soma drink. The people who raise Kundalini Shakti attain suprahuman powers. What are the suprahuman powers that Indrajit attained through Kundalini? Indrajit was called Meghanada. It means that Indrajit was the leader of the clouds. That means Indrajit should have gone above the clouds to be titled as Meghanada. We know about the Ashtasiddhis, which are 8 supernormal feats. One of such siddhis is Lehimam, which makes oneself weightless. Indrajit might have used this siddhi to climb above the clouds. Yes, we understand it now. Indrajit used this siddhi to go above the clouds and could have forewarned his people on the impending rains or storms. This should have been very convenient for the farmers. When this Indrajit attained nirvana, he was obviously worshipped as rain god. His weapon being Vajra, the thunderbolt, is very appropriate. Thus, Indra was his name after nirvana and Indrajit was his name before nirvana. The Jit in Indrajit means Siddh, an abbreviation of Siddha. That means his human name was Indra Siddha. If so, how did the title Indra originated? There were Aindra schools all over India in ancient times. What is meant by Aindra? The Ashtasiddhis of today existed as 5 siddhis only in the times of Indrajit. The wisdom regarding the 3 more siddhis developed after the times of Indrajit, which are together called today as Ashtasiddhi. Hence, during the times of Indra, only 5 siddhis were known, and Indra Siddha was the only personality in his times who mastered all these 5 siddhis. The tentative list of these 5 siddhis were Animam, Mahimam, Lehimam, Karimam, and Vyabhyam. Indra used the Lehimam Siddhi to rise above the clouds. This Siddhi was cultivated by intense meditation over a long period of time. The possessor of this Siddhi shall make themselves weightless when and where they desired. This Siddhi shall be explained by an example. If we wind a copper coil around a soft iron rod and pass current through the coil, the iron rod becomes magnetic. When we switch off the current, the iron rod loses the magnetic state. Just like the electric current makes the iron rod magnetic, the meditative power of the humans shall make them weightless by generating anti-gravity force in their body upon their wish. The 5 siddhis that Indra possessed were called Aindiram. Aindu means 5. Tiram means skill. Hence, Aindra means 5 skills. The Siddha who mastered all these 5 skills for the first time in the world was called Aindra Siddha. This Aindra Siddha deformed as Indra Siddha, which was the original title name of Indrajit. If we remove the sound A from Aindra Siddha, we get Indra Siddha. The fact that Aindra Siddha deformed to yield Indra Siddha shall be conclusively proved. Indrajit used to go above the clouds using Lehimam Siddhi. That's why he was called the rain god after his nirvana, and his Indraloka is said to be aloft the clouds. Thus, the Indraloka, which is situated among the clouds, is also hanging like the clouds. If we search the meaning of the Tamil word Andiram, it is said to mean sky, Devaloka, and in the middle, etc. Thus, Indraloka is also called Andraloka. Just like Indra originated from Aindiram, the word Andhra should also have originated from Aindiram. If we remove the sound I from Aindiram, we get the word Andiram. Hence, the fact that both Indira and Andira being related to each other and both emerging from Aindiram establishes the fact that the name Indra Siddha originated from Aindra Siddha only. After his nirvana, the Siddha part was removed from his name and he is known as God Indra. The fact that has to be understood here is, when Indrajit, the human, was alive, there was no God Indra. When the God Indra evolved, there was no human Indrajit. That means Indra the god and Indrajit the human did not exist at the same time. This is an important key in the research on Ramayana. We shall now investigate why there are no temples for Indra and why the Brahmins denigrated Indra and why they also claimed that he helped Rama in the Ramayanam war. As Indra alone had the capacity to float in the sky, no one could defeat Indra in the war. Vibhishana, Hanuman, Sugriva, and Angada, who were said to have possessed the skill to fly in the air, was a terrible lie. They could not actually fly. We shall discuss this in the upcoming episodes. Hence, the arrows shot by these people on Indra, who was afloat in the sky, could not go beyond certain distance in the sky due to the pull of gravity. On the other hand, the arrows released by Indra from the sky was assisted by gravity, and it reached the ground with a larger force and it got to its targets without fail. Hence, there was simply no chance for Rama to win the war against Indra. In fact, there are a number of evidences to prove that Rama did not win in the war, and we shall be discussing them in successive episodes. Hence, the Brahmins were well aware by the time they translated Tamil Ramayana, known then as Raviniyam, into Sanskrit, that Indra defeated Rama in the war and hence realized that he was the enemy of the Brahmins. How then would they allow temples to be built for Indra, who defeated their forefather Rama? Not only that they disallowed building temples for Indra, they character assassinated him by creating foul stories on him. They had to justify not building temples for him, right? That's the reason. It's all right, but why should they claim that Indra helped Rama in Ramayanam war? Learning that Indrajit had such supranormal capabilities and being aware that he was a Tamil, they decided to destroy the true history of Indrajit. As part of the plot, they portrayed that Indra and Indrajit were two different and unrelated personalities. That is, concealing the fact that Indrajit became God Indra after his nirvana, they portrayed that they were different and unrelated personalities. But if the public are to be convinced that they are indeed different, then they should be shown as enemies who fought against each other. We shall then never suspect that they are same. That is why Indra was shown helping Rama, who was the opponent of Indrajit. But as established already, during the Ramayana war, the god Indra hadn't evolved, and hence Indra could not have helped Rama in the Ramayana war. This single fact is enough to prove that Rama did not win the war with Ravana. Thus, they showed that god Indra helped Rama for the sole purpose of destroying the history of Indrajit. If the Jewish Brahmins decided to destroy the history of a historical personality, then they projected his multiple title names as different personalities, and they created pseudo-anecdotes on the hypothetical conflicts between these hypothetical personalities. This is the standard formula that these Jewish Brahmins used always. Using such a formula, they destroyed the history of Vishnu also. The regional title names of Vishnu in Kerala were Mavali and Vamana. Mavali means a powerful king, as Vishnu was the emperor of India in his times, and Vamana means astronomer, pointing to Vishnu, the greatest astronomer. They projected the two names as two different personalities and destroyed the history of Vishnu through the Thiruvikrama anecdote. We shall now consider the other facts about Indra. It was Indrajit who invented the spokes wheel. The spokes wheel reduces the weight of the disc type wheel by a great ratio while retaining the load bearing capacity of the disc wheel. Not only that, to make the spokes wheel very sturdy and last for long, an iron circular shoe has to be fastened to it. Indra used hot fitting technology for this fastening, which was an extraordinary technological feat. As he created this type of wheel for the first time, he was titled Sakkara to preserve the fact that he invented the wheel. Sakkaram is the Tamil name for the wheel. This word Sakkara itself reveals how many spokes were present in his wheel. There were 8 spokes. Attu plus Karam, Atkaram, Satkaram, Sarkaram, Sakkara. Attu means 8 in Tamil and Karam primarily means hand but connotes here as spoke. Hence, the wheel was named after the 8 spokes it had and thus named as Sakram, and Indrajit, the inventor of it, was titled Sakkara to retain the fact that it was he who invented the wheel. Except for the title name Sakkara, is there any other proof for Indra having invented the 8 spokes wheel? Yes. Indra's title name Sakkara was pronounced as Saka by the Nepalis of recent era. It is just like they pronounce Buddha Dharma as Buddha Dhamma. Tibetans and Nepalis cannot pronounce R sound. I had already established in Ravanan video that Mallas of ancient Lanka migrated to northeast India and later spread up to Nepal. The descendants of Indra were called in North India as belonging to Saka clan, so named after Indra. It was in this Saka clan that Sakyamuni Buddha originated. The symbol of Buddhism is the 8 spokes wheel, and it is said to represent the eightfold paths that the Buddhists are supposed to follow. The 8 spokes wheel, named Sakram, having been invented by Indra, the Saka clan of North India being the descendants of Indra, the Saka, the Buddha being born in the Saka clan, and the symbol of Buddhism being the 8 spokes wheel, all points to the fact that it was Indra who invented the spokes wheel. As wheel is the basic component of most machines, machines were named after Indra as Endiram in Tamil. Indiran, Endiram. Indra and his people invented many machines. If you come to know that even the English word machine originated from Indra, won't you surprised? If you search for the etymology of machine, the etymological dictionary states that the word machine originated from the word makana. The Tamil word makan originated from 2 Tamil words ma and kan. Makan means manifesting greatness, and it is such great people who invent machines and technologies. Indra was one such makan, and we already know that he invented the spokes wheel. Hence, all the words related to mechanism and machine originated from makan, the Indra. Makan, makan, mechanism, mechanism. The white elephant of Indra is a symbol of Asivagam. Lotus was another symbol of Asivagam. When Buddha's mother Maya Devi conceived Buddha, she had a dream that a white elephant gave her a lotus flower and then entered her womb and dissolved. This dream proves the connection between Indra and Buddha. The Buddha of Sakya clan was a descendant of Indra. Not only that, the art of floating in the air using lehimem skill is retained to this day only by the Buddhists. This is another proof for the connection between Indra and Buddha. As Siddha tradition is slowly decaying, these Buddhists aren't able to go above the clouds today. However, they do establish that they could float in the air. It is reported that during the East India Company rule, group of Buddhists were seen floating in the air at about the height of 150 feet. The next proof for the connection of Sakya clan with Indran is the name of the Buddhist era city called Pataliputra. Today, the city is the capital of Bihar state and is being called Patna which is a deformed form of Tamil name Pattinam. Kindly remember that Buddha Gaya and Nalanda University are situated in Bihar. They are within 100 miles from Pataliputra. How was Pataliputra named? Patali means singer in Tamil. The word Putra means here descendants. Hence, Pataliputra is a city of the descendants of singers of Jaffna, the ancient Lankan city known for music and dance. In fact, Jaffna was named after Yar musicians as Yarpanam, which deformed through the European tongue as Jaffna. But Patali also means working class people, especially the agricultural workers. As agricultural works are strenuous and boring, they normally sing while working. That is how the agricultural workers got the name Patali, which originally meant singer.
சரி, இந்த பாட்டு பாடினதெல்லாம் போதும். இங்க வாங்க, இந்த பண்ணையும் டீம் குடிச்சு தெம்பா வேலை செய்ய வாங்க.
I had already stated that Mallas are paddy farmers and they lived in the region of Pataliputra. I had also established that they migrated from ancient Lanka. Hence, just like Jaffna, Pataliputra was also the city of music and dance. Keep this information in mind. In Ramayana research, they would be of use again. As Murugan initiated agriculture for the first time, he had to create a calendar that could indicate seasons, as agriculture is a seasonal occupation. As the lunar calendar created by Shiva is not seasonal, it would not be useful for agriculture. The agricultural season for dryland farming in Lanka starts with the closure of northeast monsoon, which is near winter solstice, and it lasts up to the start of the southwest monsoon. Hence, Murugan started his agricultural calendar on winter solstice, and he identified a star constellation which rose in the eastern horizon in the early hours on the day of winter solstice and named it after Shiva as Siddhar Ore, which is nothing but the Orion constellation. This is the first zodiac in the history of mankind, and it was created by Murugan Siddha, remembering Shiva. Ore is the equivalent name for zodiac, and the possessor of the first ever Ore was called Orion, which deformed as Orion, representing Shiva. The agricultural calendar based on the observation of Siddhar Ore was called Siddharial calendar, that is Siddharial calendar. Siddhar plus Iyal, Siddharial. The sidereal calendar started following the spotting of Orion zodiac in the eastern horizon in the usual early hours of the day. But Indra, who belonged to the mountain tribe and who continued using Shiva's lunar calendar, modified it to suit agriculture as lunosolar calendar when the mountain tribe got into agricultural profession. Every third year, he introduced an extra month, and hence the third year had 13 months, which compensated for the routine lag of the lunar calendar, and hence could catch up with the Murugan's sidereal calendar. As this technique was introduced by Indra, the Saka, it was called Saka calendar. This is still in use in most of India and Southeast Asian countries with some modifications. We have seen that Indra broke the dam that Murugan's people built as a part of the war strategy. I had also stated that Indra won the Ramayanam war. Following the defeat and fearing persecution by the winners, Vibhishna's warring teams among the mountain people and the ground people left Lanka and South India in search of their new home abroad. Where all they went, and the proof for the same would be discussed in the upcoming research videos. The remaining Murugan's ground people of Lanka, who were the civilians, compromised with Indra, and the two communities lived in permanent friendship forever thereafter. What is the basis for this statement of mine? Asivagam religion was propounded by Murugan, and elephant and lotus are the symbols of Asivagam. As Indra elevated the Siddha skills to a new high, having mastered the 5 supranormal skills, he was awarded the white elephant of Asivagam as his carrier, symbolizing the highest position in Asivagam. Not only that, the people of Indra, who became agriculturists, started worshipping Murugan as their god, apart from worshipping their own god Indra, as agriculture was invented by Murugan. Hence, following Ramayanam war, Indra's people and Murugan's people lived in peace and friendship forever in Lanka, and that's what I want to convey through these facts. The people who descended from the mountains and entered agricultural profession were called Mallas. Don't think that they descended from the mountains only after the Ramayanam war. They had alighted well before Kuberan times. How? Kuberan became the richest person only due to farming. Not only that, his capital city was in Jaffna, the ground region far away from the mountains. This establishes the fact that considerable mountain population had alighted from the mountain well before Kuberan times. However, after Ramayana war, even more people descended from the mountains and entered agricultural profession. I want to define who constituted Murugan's people. They were the Kumari mountain people called Nadars and the Kumari herding population of whom Murugan was a part and other Lemurian professionals of various trades. The herding Ayers started agriculture in Lanka and were called Muthaliyas as they were the first to do agriculture. Murugan's military called as Devas were chosen from the Ayers, Nadars and from the professionals of various trade who accompanied Murugan escaping the deluge. This information would help trace the moment of the exodus of Ramayanam war.